Sonando. Hello everyone and welcome back into a different type of video. Today we're going to do something that I've never done before, which is to learn a new language. Now you probably already know by the title that I'm going to try and learn Korean. There are a couple of reasons why I chose to learn this language instead of any other. First is that I watched a video. I believe it was the inventor of the Dothraki. I believe it is the language that they speak on Game of Thrones. I don't know, I've never watched Game of Thrones. Since I'm a writer, this world building stuff really interests me. And he said that if you're going to create a new language, you should learn other languages that are different than yours. So my first thought was to learn French. But French is kind of similar to Spanish, which I already speak. And my second thought was to learn Japanese. But I already scheduled a class for next semester on Japanese. So without Japanese, which was my go-to Asian language, and without French, which is the one that I wanted to learn, I landed on Korean. And you're probably wondering why. Why Korean? Well, first of all, I already have experience with the language. Back in 2012, I was introduced to K-pop because of my sisters. And on 2017, one of my sisters bought the books from Talk to Me in Korean. There were different levels. I don't remember which ones she has. I believe it's from level 1 to level 5. And when Maria struck the island, I actually read level 1 and level 2. So me starting this video, I already know how to read Korean. So yeah, that's the reason why I chose Korean, because I believe it's gonna be a little bit easier. And I also heard that Korean was a pretty recent established language. So the one that made it kind of had this experience on languages, and that's how they made the vocabulary. Now, this is not taking account on other things that I'm gonna explain later, but yeah, with that said, I am going to try for a full month to learn Korean, starting tomorrow, actually. So yeah, I actually have a schedule that I'm going to use. I'm going to read it right now. My weekly schedule was supposed to go something like this. On Mondays, I would start the lesson of the week. This day is where I would search for information on anything relevant to the topic of that week. On Tuesdays, I would write it down. Anything that I learned from the day before, I would write it down to try and memorize it even better. On Thursdays, I would go over the writings and make sure that I haven't forgotten anything. On Saturday, I would do my vocabulary research. This vocabulary research would be according to the lesson of the week. On Sunday, I would go over everything to make sure that I learned properly. Now, how did the weekly lessons work? Well, I tried to look at how I was taught both languages, English and Spanish, and try to take that approach to Korean. Now, week 1, I would try to do the basics, which would be go over the alphabet, sentence structures, nouns, verbs, all tenses, and adjectives. On week 2, it will be a continuation of week 1. I will go through adverbs, greetings, possessive, positive and negative sentences, passive and active sentences. On week 3, I would try to go through numbers and directions. I would try to learn how to give directions, how to count numbers and everything. I would try to talk about time, hours, months, days, years, and try to learn about counters. On week 4, it will be questions and lifestyle. I will be trying to learn how to ask the journalist questions, which is what, when, where, who, why, and how. I will also try to learn any phrase that's around lifestyle that I haven't come upon. On week 5, it will be apply it. I would make sure that I can read and understand things in Hangul. Then I would take notes on what I couldn't learn or I still don't understand. And obviously, this isn't the end. Let's go to the next section, which is actual expectations. Like I said, I'm only gonna take 1 month. So what do I expect from this month? Well, I don't know if I'm 100% can learn a language in 1 month. Like, it takes a lot of time to learn something like that. The sites that I visited, the minimum they said it was 6 months, and I'm trying to learn it on one. So yeah, I don't think that this is gonna be 100% successful. I know that I'm gonna understand it a little bit more, but yeah, we're gonna try, which is the important thing, that we're gonna try and learn. Now let's begin. So yeah, this is like the very first day that I started this challenge. I wanted to like record this one because I knew that it was like kind of like the most important, because technically this is the day, the Mondays were the days that I was gonna search for everything that I was gonna learn throughout that week according to the topic of the week. Here is me searching for the information. As you can see, I'm focused more on the structures of the sentences. I decided to skip the alphabet and how to read because, like I said, I already knew that because I already had like this kind of experience with the language. And after this, I decided to go on YouTube and look for some videos of Talk to Me in Korean, because I know that they exist and I've seen some of their videos, but I didn't know that I was gonna encounter this.
해요.
해요.
해. 아요, 어요, 해요. 아요, 어요, 해요. 아요, 어요.
Oh no. Oh shit, BTS, better fucking watch out.
아요, 어요, 해요. 아요, 어요, 해요. 플러스 아요.
As you can see, I was 100% not expecting that. Like, I never watch those videos. I usually watch the ones that are a little more recent, which is kind of the reason why I almost never understand them, because I've never tried to learn Korean from the beginning. And as you can see, I tried to go and search for more videos, but I kind of sidetracked and like started watching a lot of other videos that didn't have to do anything with the lesson of the week. And that is just one thing that it just happens with me. Like, I see something and then I'm like, why is it like that? And I just saw like the Q&A video that had nothing to do with what I was searching, and I just wanted to watch it, and that made me go and watch other videos. So that kind of sidetracked me a lot, but I kind of already studied what I had to study that week technically at the beginning and all that, so it wasn't that much of a loss of time. But yeah, with that day done and that week finally over, I wasn't able to record the second week, so let's jump right into the third week. Hello, so the last time I recorded, if I'm not mistaken, was at the beginning of week 1. I think it was Monday. Right now, today is July 7th, around the beginning of week 3. I just want to show you what I've done like along the way. So like I said, I was gonna be writing, so I have week 1 and I have like a couple of things depending on what I was supposed to study on week 1. I went over and I did kind of derailed, and I also came up to like a list of 100 verbs, and I wrote every single one of them down. These are supposed to be like some of the most common verbs that you would use on a day-to-day life. It go up to you can see like up to 100. And then was the beginning of week 2 with the adverbs, negative sentences, passive verbs, and the possessives was the last thing. All I can say right now is that today is Tuesday, which I was supposed to do my research for this week yesterday. And even though I did look up like the number systems, I've been working like with the anime pillow fight video that still hasn't come out yet, probably by when this video goes up, and that has taken like a lot of my time. So what I decided was I uploaded like a mini trailer or something, and I'm going to take a break for this week from working with that video. That way I can focus on this, because at the end of the day, when I finish this video, like I want to have like the ability to like at least say some things in Korean. Like I don't just want to like take this whole journey and don't have like nothing to show for it. So yeah, I'm gonna take this week and I'm going to read every single thing that I have here on my notes, because like I did wrote down like like the list of 100 verbs that I haven't gone over it. So yeah, I'm going to take this week a little bit more seriously, because I've only got 3 more weeks left. So this is week 3. We have just week 4 and week 5. So yeah, I want to start like using everything that I've learned from this week forward. I know that I said that I probably was gonna try to look for, well, I don't know if I said it, but on my notes I had like what I was gonna use to learn, and I was kind of thinking of maybe going around and look for like not just things to read, but also like, you know, K-pop is so popular, maybe listen to some songs. But I think that is gonna be something that I'm gonna have to save for after the month is over. I want to make sure that I know enough, and to be honest, I don't think that I'm going to achieve what I would want to do, because I still don't know that much. Hopefully at the end of these 5 weeks I would know enough to then start doing that, but I don't think that during these 5 weeks I would be able to do that. So yeah, I'll see you whenever I decide to record again. So yeah. Well, as you can see, you're probably noticing that things have changed quite a lot. And you're probably wondering, well, what happened? Well, let me tell you. If I'm not mistaken, the last thing that I said is that I wasn't going to do what I was planning to do on that week, and that I should probably reconsider what I was going to learn that week. And I had a lot of plans. Like I said, I believe that I said that I wanted to start getting to like listening to some K-pop, just to like be like get familiar with the language. Well, let me tell you that week 4 and week 5 I wasn't able to do anything. So I wasn't able to study. And you're probably wondering, well, how long has it passed since then? Well, it all started back on June 25, if I'm not mistaken. I was supposed to end around July 25, or maybe later. It's already September 29. I wasn't able to complete my final weeks. And don't worry, even though it's been like 2 months ever since I started this video, I have tried to force myself to not look into more of it, just to make this as genuine as possible. So, is it possible to learn Korean in 1 month? I'd say yes. If I would have stuck with all the plan that I had, all the schedule that I had, if I was able to stick with it, I would have known more than what I know now. All that said, comparing to where I started to where I am now, like it is much easier for me to search information about Korean. I actually realized that now when I watch videos of Talk to Me in Korean, I can actually understand what they're saying compared to before, where it was like, oh, like they're saying something. Well, no, right now I can be like, oh, I can see what you're saying, and I'm understanding what you're saying, because now I know a couple of things about structures and all that, and how you're supposed to write and all that. Even though that I knew stuff before, I didn't know as in depth as I do now. Even though I thought that I was gonna watch a lot of videos, because it is much easier for me when I'm watching a video because it's audio and visual. I realized that I stopped that pretty immediately, like week 1. It was the only one that I watched videos. the weeks after that, I only kept reading and reading and reading and reading, because it felt better, because I can actually read fast and learn everything faster than waiting for a video to tell me. So I will probably link down the site that I was using, but it was this site that was like very specific on the things that it was teaching. I realized that according to my own schedule and the way that I wrote it down, it actually kind of matched the way that they teach them. And even though I was jumping around between lessons, even though like it said like you should probably stick to the lessons, but not always. Like if you see like a course with a lot of lessons, like don't do it in the same order, even though it is probably like from the teacher's perspective the way you should learn it. I realized that it was better for me the way that I was doing it. So if you follow my schedule, you will probably find something a lot more reasonable, because I was trying to learn like the core of everything. And this site like tried to go in detail about things and sometimes avoided things. Like for example, when I was learning the passive verbs, like it was saying that you should not use them because it is awkward to use them. It was often not used, like the passive verb forms. But even though it is not used a lot, you shouldn't like discourage the learning of it, because we need to know. Just because something is not used very often, it doesn't mean that I'm not gonna come across it. So yeah, when I started like posting things on my Facebook in Korean, and that's one of the things that helped me also learn, because I don't have anybody like who knows Korean. I don't have nobody from Korea that can teach me Korean. So as a form of practice, I was using Facebook, and the first thing that I posted was 저는 내 친구가 아니야. The thing that I like about this sentence, it's like if you translate it, like it sounds normal, like I am not your friend. But since it is Korean, for me, I believe like it's kind of funny, because it ends in ania, which is like the very like not formal, like the casual kind of. So it's kind of like, oh, you're not my friend, but I don't care about you that much. I don't see you as a high status. Like, no, you're not my friend, go on. Also after that, like I made a post on Facebook, and that kind of directed some of my other Korean written posts. Those, well, I'm not gonna translate. If you saw the picture of the first one, then you know the context. Maybe, I don't know. Like that's the whole context. It's just me young. You just need to know me young. And it's funny because I do that, and I just referenced Ludwig with his parasocial thing. Like, don't at me. I know. I just do it as a joke, okay? Unless if you're watching me young, you know. I know you don't know Korean. That was also the funny thing about it, because I was writing this in Korean. She is Korean, but she doesn't know Korean, which is like also like the other part of the joke, which nobody would have understood it. It's my Facebook. The posts were mostly for me, for fun. So yeah. So what can you take away from this? Well, you can learn a language in a month, but if you're gonna like try to learn a language in a month, I would advise you to like first get familiar with it a little bit, because that will make it a goal that is much more reachable. Second, if you're gonna make a schedule, try to stick to it if you can. If you can't, don't worry. life doesn't end in a month, so you will probably have like a lot of time left, like to polish whatever you were trying to learn and whatever you couldn't learn. After I make this video, I am going to try to keep learning more. Right now I am taking a class on Japanese also, so I have those two languages. Since I started learning Korean and now I started to learn Japanese, I do realize that sometimes I confuse the two. That's also something that you could take away from this. Like, try to learn one language and then try to go to the next one. I know. I didn't really thought that one through. Well, I did. I knew that it was gonna happen, but I still did it because I like knowledge. I like knowing, especially when it comes to language. I like cultures, and I really like the idea of being multilingual, which is why I'm planning to learn more languages. It's not gonna stop with just Korean and Japanese. No, I plan on learning French, Russian, maybe German. So I guess this is the end of the video. I usually leave my videos with one phrase, so this time I'm just gonna translate it. 모든 것이 말돼서 모든 것이 끝났대. 나를 다음 업로드에 보았으면 좋겠어요. I don't know if that's how you properly translate it.